taking a minute to let your spine be long, keeping your ears over shoulders over hips. Start with your feet flat down underneath you. Big inhale from everything touching the ground, up through your spine, hug your belly to your spine. Heart space forward, let your shoulder blades drip down your back. Soften in your neck and jaw, take the back of your head back one more place and then lift. Need one more big deep breath there. Place your hands on your forehead. And with a big exhale, you're going to take anything that you were doing up to this moment and let it sit somewhere else and not be here with you so that you can be completely present. One more time if you need to. From here, you're going to slowly start to move side to side, pressing your legs down and lifting through your belly and through your lowest ribs as you turn. Really letting your arms have some freedom of motion here. And taking a center position here. You're gonna let your arms swing up and then down. So inhale up, exhale down. Next, you're going to open opposite, one up, one down. Switch. And out to the side, big circles. Forward and backwards. Back to your twist again. Bring all that work, compress it down into your center. Two hands over heart space, right in the center of your chest, right on this plate right here. Try to press your back behind you. Almost like you're kind of laying into a chair or laying into the couch. But while you're doing that, see if you can lift your heart space forward and press your hands into your chest. Now soften everything around that connection. Soften in your neck and jaw, pressing your legs down into the ground, lifting in your lowest belly, and allowing the rib cage to get full on every side, including the little floating ribs on the side here, without pushing your chest forward. You're going to use this position of ears over shoulders over hips to lean into this space. This is this big space of trust behind you. And you can push your knees down in front in order to give yourself more balance. Now, as you're breathing in, you're going to press your belly out, press your back out too, lift in your ribs. You're going to bring all that breath up, stretching out between all of the ribs all the way up to here, and then let your shoulders sit on top of an open rib cage. And as you exhale, you're going to let all the breath return. See if you can tighten your belly even more and just exhale the rest of it out. Really clean everything out of your system. So a lot of this is creating this magnetic connection to the ground and then using that, making yourself get bigger, taking up more space, really finding out where you might be holding, right? Because right now, if you're doing the work, you're taking the time to do some breathing, you're giving yourself a moment to pause in the middle of everything else that's going on without standing still. You're not just letting an involuntary reaction to whatever is going on happen. You're making a very intentional decision to give yourself a moment to breathe, to be in your body, to take up more space, and to really lean into the idea that you are supported. You can trust you where you are in space if you allow yourself to have a little bit of a moment to be able to really consciously pay attention to everything that's going on around you. So from here, this is a practice. Doesn't mean that you're not going to get distracted. There's lots of things that are easily popping into mind all the time. But if you're putting in the effort of just taking some time to breathe, then this can, even if it gives you half of a second of a reset before you have to go and take care of whatever the next thing is, then you've done a little bit of work, right, for that moment. You can try to soften around the space around you. And this does take some practice because you are bigger than where your skin stops. Your power is not just in your center, but it's everywhere to where your skin stops, and then it's everywhere in your range of motion, and then it's anything that you can affect, whether that's with your intention or with something that you can do action-wise, right? So from here, pressing down, making that conversation really solid with the ground. Big inhale. Bring that breath all the way up. See if you can unlock your shoulders a little bit more. Soften in your neck and jaw. Take the breath up a little bit more, maybe even hold for a second. And finding softness with the exhale. Now another way you can do this is also have one hand on your chest and one hand on your lower belly, and you can allow this space to really work together, because when we're functioning in just our center, it can be very power-based. But if you bring that expansion up to a heart space as well, then you have heart space and your center, your power center working together, and that's when you can really make some changes happen. You can really affect what's going on inside you, and even if it's just for a minute at a time, just for a minute to, give you a break in, whatever you're doing, whether it's work or whatever. If you can take a second and find centering and some grounding and just be in this moment, it gives your mind something else to rely on instead of itself or its imagination. So a little bit of this rotation, I'm kind of shaking off any places of holding that I feel. One more. And a big exhale.